about to meet and the stories you're going to hear may stimulate you into re-examining the very foundations of some of our most deeply held beliefs. Beliefs that go all the way back to antiquity. The journey we're about to take will ask the question, can we be good without God?
If you were an alien intelligence or an intelligent alien visiting this planet, there might be many things about human behavior that would really baffle you. For example, you might conclude that these traffic lights were magic. When they cast a red spell down the road or across it, everyone stops. When they cast a green spell, then everyone starts moving again. Magic. Many philosophers believe that ethical codes, moral codes of behavior, are actually in some way like a sophisticated system of traffic lights.
They work because we all agree on the rules and we agree to obey and conform to them, most of the time anyway. In the same way, belief systems are supposed to work, most of the time anyway. Since the very beginning of our species, we humans have always held beliefs as a way of trying to understand the world. And some of the earliest and probably the strongest beliefs have been to do with God or gods. Right now, the vast majority of people on Earth believe in God or in gods. But there is a growing minority who do not. Groups such as atheists, freethinkers, skeptics, and the group that we're going to focus on here, humanists.
The term humanism, I think, is basically an ethical term. You can't define it as non-theistic or not belief in the existence of God. I define it as the realization of the best of which we're capable. Humanism is an effort to realize and fulfill human happiness and human good. And that is affirmative, it is positive, it is constructive.
Humanism is a worldview, but so are all religions a worldview. And we need a term that, first of all, puts us under the same umbrella. That doesn't mean to say we have to agree. We will never agree on certain issues. But that does not prevent us from being able to act jointly on common concerns.
You can, I believe, and I hold on to this because it's a frail belief, construct a system of belief in which uncertainty is built in which a stoical acceptance that your choices may be wrong is part of it, that the other's vision may be as valid as yours. It's what we strive for in what we call secular, pluralist, humanist democracies.
The world's greatest authority on myths and legends, Joseph Campbell, once said, "Myth is the secret opening through which the inexhaustible energies of the cosmos are poured into human manifestation." In other words, we create stories and legends in order to help us cope with the world around us, which is often pretty terrifying and apparently arbitrary.
The actual term or thought religion isn't necessarily universal. And with a lot of Native peoples, and this would be true of First Nations in Canada and Native Americans in the United States, they don't really have a word usually for religion. Religion isn't thought of as something that's compartmentalized off of any other aspect of life. Things that don't look at all religious to Western eyes sometimes are very important in the religion, and things that do look very religious or look like items of worship maybe serve more what we would think of as secular functions. Why do people have religion? I'm not exactly sure, but I do know that people don't always define that word the same way or that concept the same way.
I can understand the gods being the controllers related to nature and controlling our destinies, but where did they get the idea of this is right, this is wrong?
One thing that is fairly common in a lot of American Indian and First Nations religions is actually the idea that the gods don't necessarily set down rules for any kind of arbitrary reason on what is good and what is bad. As a matter of fact, some tribes don't really even have words that would probably translate as good or evil. Instead, there's that idea that oftentimes through the stories, gods illustrate good behavior and bad behavior by themselves having bad behavior. And there's consequences of that behavior.
Tell me what the stories did for people.
There are some tribes that the stories very clearly put everything into a sense of order, even storms, even disasters. And there are other groups where the stories don't have all the answers. As a matter of fact, there are some tribes that the closest word they have to meaning holy actually translates as mystery or unknowable.
Psychiatrist Dr. Vivian Rakoff is not only one of the leading authorities on the human psyche, but also a keen student of cultures.
If you're subject to all kinds of arbitrary vicissitudes of illness, the weather, the warring tribe from the next valley, starvation, you need something to keep you going.
The Hopi is an interesting example, actually, and these are Hopi Kachina dolls here. Kachinas can take on a weightless sense. They can become clouds, literally. And as clouds, they can return their essence to the earth in the form of rain, which of course is the basis for the corn, which feeds the Hopi people. And in that cycle, they are always locked together.
If that magical thinking did indeed help our species to survive, it would certainly account for the fact that our beliefs and the myths and the legends that those beliefs spawn are so deeply rooted in every human culture.